is to talk to artists about empowering them to put their art out into the world and what it means to empower artists at a college level. And so that's why we're here at Gregg Art Museum, which is our college art museum as well. So my name is Xenna Smith, and I am editor-in-chief of Windhover, and I'll be hosting today's little artist talk, and we will be walking around Gregg Art Museum, looking at some of the art, and also just talking to Noah over here. Noah, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi everyone, my name is Noah Baldwin. I am a photographer, and yeah, looking forward to walking around and seeing some really great art here, so yeah.
Awesome. What are your favorite photography subjects? I know for Windhover, you've taken some pictures of some amazing architecture in Prague. Mm-hmm. Downtown Prague is on page 61 of Windhover Live, if you want to check that out. So yeah, what is your favorite photography subject to take pictures of?
That's a great question. Really anything that really visually excites me.
Yeah.
I love capturing things that are mundane, making them extraordinary. So really just making things that are ordinary, making them very just out of this world, and I don't know, just making them just visually striking and interesting to look at.
Do you think it's important for college students to have access to viewing and studying art? It's pretty fitting that we're in Gregg Museum right now, but do you think it's important? Why or why not?
Absolutely. Art is an amazing way to really express yourself and really get your innermost thoughts out and your feelings. I feel like, especially nowadays with mental health being so important, the arts are just very crucial when it comes to that. And I'm a strong advocate for just really expressing yourself and being who you are. So yeah, art is just a great way to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. So what resources do you think NC State has given you that's really helped you elevate your photography?
Absolutely. You mentioned this earlier. So my study abroad trip was one of the best experiences ever. I studied fashion photography, and there I learned with one of the best photographers ever. Her name is Stefanka. I love her. Hey Stefanka, if you're watching. And yeah, that was a great experience, and that was one of the most useful resources ever. I learned so many cool tricks and things about lighting, contrast, things of the like. So that was a great experience for me when it comes to photography.
Yeah. I've heard study abroad programs are really great for that in Prague in particular. So let's get into the lobby area now. I just love the way it transitions from the historical wing, and then it's just modern.
Yes.
And it's just so big and bright too. Oh, I love it. Your photography. But do you have a specific photographer or sort of just an idea that inspires you?
I really am inspired by feelings and emotions, and really just anything that excites me visually. I also really love reading magazines and looking at editorials. That's one of my, I would say, more concrete inspirations. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have one person that I would say is oh, that's who I want to mimic. I actually have been very influenced by anyone on social media, so influencers and their style. And I love making things that are very lifestyle posts, but making them elevate them to appear more artistic and editorial. So that's really, I would say, one of my inspirations is really anyone out there just sharing their art and being themselves. So yeah, I would say really anyone. I'm inspired by everyone.
I love that answer. You're inspired by everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. Speaking of cool, this is really awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way that it's just a whole building or wall, just in the middle of the museum.
Yeah.
That too. And I think these are cool. They kind of remind me of Home Depot. When you go and get your bags of dirt for your gardens too. But then it's these beautiful, intricate sculptures on it. Okay. So just kind of off the top of your head, what are some of your thoughts on this artwork over here? Photography.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I love the contrast in this work. It really draws your attention to the focal point, which are the hidden faces in the rocks. And I just love the way that the artist has really just accentuated those hidden features that you may not see in real life, but through editing, through these color, lighting, contrast, it really has brought those faces to life and made them really just come to life. So I love that whole idea, and that's one reason why I love photography. You can just bring things to life in ways that people may have not ever really thought of. So
yeah. And now, what do you feel about the way that the pictures really contrast the sculptures?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love the way that they kind of a little dialogue going on here. I would say the faces in the pictures, when placed by sort of these abstract faces here, it's kind of they're having some sort of conversation. I think I love that whole kind of homogenesis there, and it's just, this whole exhibit is really just striking and really thought-provoking, I think, so, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, really, I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna go where it makes me happy.
Yeah.
If one path, I'm kind of like, nah, I don't wanna go there, I'll just, change routes and see what I like, so. Yeah, I would say either, museum, magazine, print work, editorials, that's my goal.
You're just happy to get something.
Yeah.
So, do you have any dream pictures, like something you wish you could photograph but you haven't had the chance to?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Ooh, let me think. I would say, I love New York, and I would love to get just a panoramic view of the city from a helicopter. That's one of my lifetime goals, so. That's a dream of mine.
Do you have a favorite shot you've taken, or like one you're most proud of?
Yes, actually, I recently took a self-portrait in my house, and I kind of had to stage the lighting. I have a two-story foyer, and we have a skylight essentially that comes down against our columns, and basically I kind of positioned myself in front of those columns, and the light kind of shone down, and just created this very just deep contrast between the lighting and the darkness that I really enjoy. You can find it on my Instagram page if you want to check it out. But,
So this is Stephen Althouse's object of intention, and you can see this at Gregg Museum during normal business hours. Go to Gregg Museum's website to just see more about how you can see it for yourself, because you're not getting the full picture here on Instagram Live. You got to see it for yourself, and that's exactly how they're meant to be viewed. Sorry?
Walking into kindergarten, the first thing I did was just start coloring.
Oh yeah,
so
it's always is the coloring it starts with.
That was, I would say, when my artistic journey, so to say, began. So, yeah, and creating my own style. That happened, I would say, I'd say around junior year of high school. I was still kind of exploring different things, different styles. But the more I began to practice and really began to take in a lot of those different influences, I began to really make my own style of work and something that I was happy with. So that's really where.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
That's you. The Gregg website describes his process in this gallery as the following. Quote, he begins with art pieces he creates using man-made objects, such as cloth, tools, and simple farm machinery. And then he records the images of them using large format film, cameras, and highly specialized printing and development processes. So as you guys can see, these are giant pictures, film pictures printed in a really interesting way. And he also sculpts these pieces that he takes his pictures of as well. Anything.
My first thought was, wow. I just love the way that he really captured this mundane object and made it just so exciting visually. His use of color grading and contrast and just lighting is it's spectacular. I love the way he just captured all these images. It's amazing. Yeah.
And let's let the people see what's going on around the corner, because
so I just love the contrast between the very just grungy kind of very rocky background, and you have these very naturalistic leaves in the front. It kind of tells a story of just contrast and just it's beautiful. I love how it's just hints at the fact of life coming out of I guess darkness or death, or I don't know. It's a very this is a very very deep image, for lack of better words.
You guys may not be able to see it from where you're standing, but pieces like these, they have very small details on them, which includes writing. So there's writing all down these. There's braille on quite a few of the other pieces, So, I mean, if we're talking deep and we're talking details, that would have to be it. How do you feel about incorporating maybe hidden messages into photography?
That's a really a great method, I think. It's really just quite striking when you actually sit down and look at the photo and you look closely and you realize that, oh, this is not only visually speaking to me, but also emotionally speaking to me. And that's, I think, a great method to use when it comes to photography. Kind of merging the world between literature or, semantics, just the English language and imagery. It's a great way to really push a message or, just express yourself. So
yeah. It's subtle too, because you can be some people can get it and others don't. And that's almost a message too.
Yeah.
So
I would just say don't compare yourself to others. That was one of my biggest things I used to do so much. And I think really just staying at it, like practicing your craft, you will eventually, come to a place where you're happy with what your work is. And yeah, just don't compare yourself to others. And you'll see yourself grow as not only a photographer, but as a person as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The identity as an artist, they're intertwined, and so it's like they both impact each other in that way. So now there are a lot of artists who use art as an emotional outlet. Would that be true to you as an artist?
Absolutely. Really, when I'm like feeling, sad or just happy, really any emotion, I just love to take those out and place those in my images, or just really express myself visually. So yeah, emotion is just an integral part of my work, I think. So
yeah. This is a very interesting one to me. I think it's probably one of the more simple ones out of them, but I think it's saying a lot. What do you think of it? What are your thoughts on this one right here?
I don't know. It's just like really just very evoking a sense of loneliness. I don't know
why.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. Solitude, I would say. I also just love the way the rope is kind of just elegantly just wrapped around, and it's kind of like, it's very like jewelry-like, I would say, as well. This kind of like rock takes on sort of the role of a pendant, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's very just like, I don't know, it's very just, it's just so simple, yet so profound at the same time. The composition, the framing is just chef's kiss. I love it. Chef's kiss,
yes. Yeah, this one is giving me similar vibes. Oh yes, it looks like some sort of like mallet wrapped in cloth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what I'm reading from this is like you're taking something like hard and like painful, but like dulling it.
Yeah, definitely. Giving it a little bit more, I would say, more of a vulnerability, I would say.
Yeah.
Making something very, very, hard on the exterior and making it, I would say, just very vulnerable, I would say. I love that.
Yeah.
I just love the way film kind of captures color and captures emotion. It's very, very raw, and I want to basically kind of like, step outside my comfort zone and experience those emotions and feelings. So yeah, I think that film is a great path for me to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But you find a way, I've noticed in your photography, and you guys should check it out as well, but you kind of give it a film aesthetic. So how do you go about doing that? Like, tell me about your editing process. Do you use Photoshop, other things? Well, tell me about that.
I use all of it. Anything that I can find, any app that kind of like strikes my attention, I download it and utilize it. It's like one app. I use Photoshop, Lightroom, Afterlight, Snapseed, really anything that is visually exciting, I like to utilize in my work. So,
no, absolutely. So do you have any final thoughts about any of the pieces that we saw around here particularly? Anything people want to look back at or just have thoughts on for the people who aren't seeing it in person but maybe would want to come see it in person?
Yeah. I would say that this Stefan Althaus exhibit is so amazing. Highly recommend it if you want to see some great composition, some great lighting, great color grading. Highly recommend coming in person to see that.
Is there anything that has helped you grow as an artist? Anything you felt that has strengthened your ability to create, especially emotionally?
Absolutely. I would say collaborating with your friends. Many of my friends are photographers as well, so getting their input and their perspective on things has been a great way for me to grow as a person, as a photographer as well. So, just like look around you and see, who you can talk to, who you can interact with. And yeah, just have fun with it. And I think that's really a great way to really grow as well. So, yeah.
But I hope you guys wrote that down because that was amazing advice from him. So yeah, all you artists, all you creative people out there, keep that in mind and hold that to your heart because you can tell he's a successful photographer. His work's amazing, so he's doing something right. So where can the people find you? Where can they find your art? How can they support you?
Absolutely.
Just let them know.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Noah D. Baldwin, and that's NoahDBaldwin. And also I have a print shop on Visual, and that's VSUAL.com. So yeah, if you want to, purchase some of my prints, feel free. I'd appreciate it. So yeah, find me over there, Instagram, and yeah, that's really where I'm at.
Awesome. Noah, you're an alumni. Feel free to submit to Windhover. We would love to have your work in it again. We featured you a lot in the last edition. So yeah, send us your stuff, and we want to put you in again.
Love to, yeah.